Not every crime leaves fingerprints. Some are born in code. Welcome to truecrime.exe, where fiction feels far too real.
It was one of the most chilling cases our town had ever seen. A small, tight-knit community in the north of the Czech Republic thought violent crime only happened in big cities, until, on a cold November morning, the lifeless body of 40-year-old schoolteacher Lenka Váchová was found inside her own home. The circumstances were so strange and the brutality so shocking that even veteran detectives admitted they had never encountered anything quite like it. In this report, we reconstruct the entire case, from the first discoveries through the investigation to the jaw-dropping revelation that forever changed the lives of everyone on Cemetery Street. Background. Cemetery Street is a short, dead-end road lined with old houses from the early 20th century. At its far end stands an abandoned church, and behind it, as the name suggests, a centuries-old graveyard, where crooked headstones disappear into the fog on autumn mornings. Lenka Váchová had lived there for over a decade. Known for her warm smile and dedication to her students, she was a beloved figure in the community. Neighbors described her as the kind of person who always had time for others, the teacher who stayed after school to help struggling pupils, and who baked cookies for the annual town fair. But her personal life was more complicated. Divorced for 3 years, she lived alone in a modest 2-story house inherited from her parents. Friends recalled she'd been receiving strange phone calls in recent months. Silent calls, sometimes in the middle of the night. She never spoke much about them, only mentioning once to a colleague, "It's probably just some stupid prank." In early November, Lenka had been preparing for the school's winter play. No one suspected that the evening of November 12th would be the last time she was seen alive. The crime. On the morning of November 13th, Lenka failed to show up for work. At first, her absence didn't raise alarm. Colleagues assumed she might be ill. But when she didn't answer her phone and didn't respond to messages, the school's principal decided to check on her. At 10:47 a.m., the principal arrived at Lenka's house. The front door was locked, but the kitchen window was slightly ajar. She called the police before entering. Responding officers found Lenka lying in the hallway just beyond the kitchen, face down in a pool of blood. She had suffered multiple stab wounds to the chest and neck. The scene was eerily quiet, except for the faint creak of a half-open door upstairs. What unsettled investigators the most was the state of the house. There were no signs of forced entry, no valuables missing, and no signs of a struggle beyond the immediate area of the murder. A single teacup sat on the kitchen table, still warm. The position of the body and the nature of the wounds suggested the killer was someone Lenka knew, someone she had let inside willingly. The investigation. The police quickly sealed off the street and began questioning neighbors. Several reported hearing footsteps late at night, and one elderly resident claimed to have seen a man in a dark coat standing by the church at around 2 a.m., though she admitted her eyesight wasn't perfect. Forensic analysis revealed no foreign fingerprints. However, detectives found a single muddy footprint near the back door, leading toward the graveyard. The soil pattern matched the type found near the churchyard, but no match could be made in the national database. Attention soon turned to Lenka's ex-husband, Petr Novak. The couple had divorced on reportedly tense terms, and some friends claimed Lenka had been afraid of him. Petter denied any involvement and provided an alibi. He had been on a fishing trip with two friends. Both friends confirmed his story, and phone records placed him far from Cemetery Street at the time of the murder. Weeks passed without progress. The case seemed destined to go cold, until a local teenager came forward with a disturbing detail. While cutting through the graveyard on the night of November 12th, he had seen a dim light flickering in the abandoned church. Peering through a crack in the wooden doors, he saw a man kneeling on the floor, scribbling something into a notebook. The teenager couldn't see the man's face, but remembered hearing faint humming, a slow, tuneless melody. Investigators searched the church and found nothing. But nearby, hidden under a loose stone, they discovered a notebook wrapped in plastic. Inside were pages of incoherent ramblings, drawings of knives, and, most chillingly, sketches of Lenka's house from different angles. Handwriting analysis linked the notebook to a man named Jiří Marek, a 38-year-old drifter with a history of burglary and assault. Marek had no known connection to Lenka, but his last known address was only 3 towns away. The arrest. Police launched a manhunt, eventually locating Marek in a small cabin near the Polish border. Inside they found clothes stained with blood. DNA testing confirmed it matched Lenka's. Under interrogation, Marek gave conflicting statements, at times claiming he didn't remember anything, other times suggesting that she knew why it had to happen. When pressed about how he knew Lenka, he fell silent and demanded a lawyer. Prosecutors later revealed that Marek had worked briefly as a maintenance contractor at Lenka's school 2 years earlier. It's believed he became fixated on her, following her for months and keeping notes on her movements. The night of the murder, he had reportedly entered through the unlocked back door, possibly after watching her from the graveyard. Conclusion and impact. Jiří Marek was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. But for the residents of Cemetery Street, the case left lasting scars. Many installed new locks, cameras, and security systems. Parents stopped letting their children walk home alone. And each November, when the fog rolls in from the graveyard, neighbors can't help but remember the night when safety in their small town was shattered forever. Lenka's former students still speak of her fondly, remembering her as the teacher who believed in them. A memorial plaque now hangs in the school hallway, engraved with her favorite saying, "Kindness is never wasted." And yet, for those who lived through it, there's an unshakable sense that something of that cold November night still lingers in the empty church, in the shadowy corners of Cemetery Street, and perhaps in the quiet hum of a song that only one man ever seemed to know.
Case closed. Archived in the synthetic vault. If you dare to return, the next file awaits. truecrime.exe. The line between fiction and fear.